To make sure you understand the scale of this opportunity and can make an informed decision, let me tell you the story of Vancouver Joe Brooks. Let's go all the way back to summer of 1897. Joe was a tough and boisterous man. He arrived in Skagway, Alaska on one of the first boats. He pushed his team of 17 mules into the water and swam ashore with them. Joe then made a fateful decision, one that would make him one of the richest men of the era. He decided not to follow the tens of thousands of prospectors into the gold fields, opting instead to charge them to transport their goods around the Alaskan peninsula. Soon, his mule team numbered over 300, and he was making as much as $5,000 a day, and routinely buying drinks for everyone at the bar. Levi Strauss made the very same decision. That's right, blue jean maker Levi Strauss. Back in the early 1850s, the California gold rush was in full swing. The 24-year-old German immigrant left New York for San Francisco with canvas to make and sell tents and wagon covers to the miners. Before long, he was making pants out of the sturdy fabric. And a century and a half later, Levi's is one of the most recognizable brands in the world. This secret also built fortunes for individual investors during the personal computer revolution of the late 1980s and 90s, when everybody and their brother knew personal computers would make investors rich, right? So how would you have fared if you simply started digging for gold, buying shares of the biggest, most recognizable computer makers of the day? I'm talking about no-brainers like Compaq, Commodore, Packard Bell, and IBM. A few stocks did pretty well. IBM went from around $24 a share in 1990 to over $180 today. Others did okay for a while. Compaq was a great stock during the 1990s, before slumping and being acquired by HP in 2002. Others didn't do so well. Commodore, maker of the world's best-selling desktop, went bankrupt in 1994. And Packard Bell, largest supplier of IBM-compatible PCs in the early 1990s, teased investors with plans to go public, but was eventually acquired by NEC. Now let's back up, and instead, suppose you were able to look behind the scenes and zero in on the little-known infrastructure firms set to cash in, the Pack Mule and Blue Jean businesses. Companies like these: American Power Conversion Corporation, 12 cents a share in 1988, paid shareholders $31 a share in 2007 for a staggering 25,733% return. EMC, an 8-cent a share stock in January 1990, was worth as much as $99 by 2000 and is today a $50 billion company, earning investors 30,538%. Cisco, an 8-cent a share stock in spring 1990, has made investors over 23,063%. These may look like risky penny stocks, but keep in mind those early prices are adjusted for multiple splits. In fact, just ahead you'll discover why these kinds of investments often have much of the risk already squeezed out. And the list goes on and on. Oracle went from 50 cents a share in 1990 to $41 by 2000, and is now a $160 billion company. Microsoft from 62 cents a share in 1990 to $58.37 10 years later, and is of course worth over $219 billion today. What do all these companies have in common? First, in 1990, not one investor in 5 could tell you what these companies did. They weren't talked about at parties, and these companies and their CEOs weren't on the covers of magazines. That's because these businesses provided the unglamorous equipment and services to keep PCs protected during power outages and voltage spikes. Think Pack Mules. They sold data storage, modems, and routers. Think Blue Jeans. Even the personal computer's operating system was a little understood, underappreciated internal system in 1990. Yet these companies came together to form the backbone of the PC movement and the Internet. Here's another way of thinking about it. These were the behind-the-scenes businesses that massive customer-facing companies, the stocks that were talked about at parties, simply couldn't live without. And these little-known stocks made fortunes for a handful of investors. I'm talking about investors who routinely reject conventional wisdom and rarely bother with the same methods everybody else is using. Do you have what it takes to grow rich this way? I'm talking about stepping away from the crowd in pursuit of rare and, in some instances, life-changing investment returns. Recognizing transformative technologies coming online as we speak, like consumer genomics that could allow children born in 2011 to have an average life expectancy of 100 years. Seeing breakthroughs that could safely extract the natural gas under the Marcellus Shale, enough to power every bus and truck in this country for a century. Understanding the mobile media revolution that's helping create democracies in the Middle East and changing the entertainment and communication landscape. And most important, investing in these momentous shifts in an intelligent and highly informed manner with all the resources of the motley fool behind you. If so, I'm looking forward to introducing you to someone I feel very fortunate to know, especially in times like these. He's a legendary rule-breaking investor who has directed members of our group to fully documented gains of 743%, 921%, 1,412%, 1,542%, and 1,920%, all in the last 9 years.